Welcome to day 119 of the 300 Movie Challenge. Today we watched the highest grossing film of April 2004, which was Man on Fire. If it sounds like I'm really upset, I am really upset.
Yeah, no, once we finished, first of all, I don't know if you consciously noticed this, but I noticed that after the first 20 or so minutes, we all became completely silent for the whole
Yeah.
film. And then
Yeah.
right when it was over, Tara was just like, "Huh." And I'm like, "Yeah." Huh. I I legitimately don't know what to think about this.
I don't I don't even know where to start, like what to even say first.
Yeah.
I guess, for someone who kind of likes crime drama type things, this was probably the one that I like the most. Then
Yeah.
that's just me personally.
Because we've actually seen a good amount of these kinds of movies. And
Yeah, and a lot of them have been very disappointing.
yeah,
They've been very disappointing in the sense that they go immediately into the courtroom usually.
Yeah, and then they don't even do that effectively. It's like boring as fuck.
Yeah, and then they
or
concentrate mainly on the actiony scenes of it
yeah,
with shootouts and everything, but they don't really. It's usually like a very tiny, not tiny, but it's a very straightforward plot. Like, oh, the bad guys won money
Yeah.
and
yeah,
stuff.
And
like
then there's not really any depth to it.
yeah, the only ones of these that I would say I legitimately liked, a decent amount, were um. Well, oh, I guess LA Confidential would kind of count as this kind of movie, would it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that, and then I personally like to Get Shorty, but just because of how ridiculous it was.
It's pretty ridiculous.
So
Yeah,
that's
that was an interesting one.
yeah, so definitely different style of movie. Um, but yeah, I don't know. There were so many times during this movie where I was like, I don't know if I like this,
Yeah.
and
The thing is, too, is that in the beginning of the movie, they basically tell you what is going to happen,
yeah,
which is that the little girl is going to get kidnapped. You know this because they keep dropping a lot of hints to it, like with the kidnap. You know that there's a kidnapping thing going on.
mm,
You know that people are hiring bodyguards, and when you see that they're interacting and that they're getting a closer, friendship and everything, you're just like, okay, she's gonna get kidnapped. But even when knowing that is going to happen, it doesn't prepare you for the rest of the movie as
yeah,
it goes.
because they definitely take a different approach to the focus
Yeah.
and stuff. Because again, usually it's all about the action
Mm.
and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And there's definitely action here, and there is decent, pretty gruesome stuff in it too. But it's not
But
it's
it's not unnecessary.
Yeah.
well, it's not shown. It's not presented in a way to glorify it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's presented as
not
this is the
really-
terrible shit that had to happen,
Yeah.
Hmm.
and it is terrible, and it's pretty. Some of it's pretty nasty, but it's yeah, the focus is on the plot and the character, the main character, and kind of what he's going through
Hmm.
emotionally, and it's an interesting. It's a different take that we've seen before,
Hmm.
and it does make me kind of wonder because I was at the beginning of the movie. I was looking up the reviews and stuff of it, and what the rating was, because it's not rated very well, and
Mhm.
the best thing I could see was that people were saying that the last half was too violent, and I'm like, I mean, I could see that being a problem, but I don't feel like it's out of place considering the tone of the movie.
The tone and
Yeah.
just the personality that Creasy has. I find him to be a very compelling protagonist. He's not a perfect person, but I
Right.
feel like he's very easy to understand, even though he does pretty bad things in order to get where he wants to go, and he's kind of on a revenge um,
I guess.
a revenge kind of thing.
I guess the thing is that you know how for what's it? For Passion of the Christ, we were basically like, okay, we know that this is something that happened, but you don't necessarily have to show every single second of the pain and suffering. In this case, well, again, you could make the argument that you don't have to show the pain and suffering. In a way, I feel like they're showing you it because they're trying to show the fact that this is how low that he has to go in order to try and get information from.
Right.
Yeah, it's like what I said in Passion of the Christ, how I said that, like, I understand the idea of showing all that stuff because of the, like, you know, true, like, emotional weight of everything, but at the same time I said, like, I think it was too much. Here, I think that's what they were going for, and I think it worked here.
Yeah, it worked definitely.
It didn't work in Passion of the Christ because it was just too excessive.
Yeah.
Because in Passion of the Christ, I think I forgot who said this in a review or something. In what that one of the reviews that was listed, but it was like of the 100 or 20 minutes or so of the movie, 100 minutes is basically of torture, basically, and it's not really something that one goes to a movie theater to watch,
Right.
and stuff.
And here sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
Well, I was just saying here, like, even though there's a good amount of gruesome stuff, like, they show it in a way where you don't really see it. Like,
It's mostly implied, and then you just see the after effects.
But even then, you don't see, like, a ton of after effects either. Like, you don't see, like, a dude who's, like, you know, I have, like, they don't, like, for example, there's a scene where, like, he, like, ends up, like, cutting a guy's fingers off or whatever, and it's, like, you don't really see it, like, afterward or anything. You definitely realize it happened, and, like, you see the kind of, you can briefly see his, like, hand or whatever, but it's, like, very brief. They don't focus on it.
Yeah.
So
I think that
it
has
comes
to
across
do
as
a
not
lot.
excessive.
It has to do a lot with good editing and good, like, directing. I know, like, the editing with the cuts is probably not for everyone. It's very, like, I guess, eclectic.
That was very confusing for some portions of it.
Yeah, because I specifically said pretty early on, I was like, I don't know if the editing is stylistic or annoying, and
Yeah,
I realized
I think
later,
it's a good mix of both.
yeah, it's both. Like, it definitely does. It's interesting because it's with the editing, it's like very kind of quick, and also a lot of shots are edited with, like, what do you call it? It's like you take out, like, a lot of the frames.
Yeah.
Which I think helped with the questioning scenes with him and the criminals.
Yeah.
And also, a lot of the time you may notice that they end up, like, showing kind of exposition in that way.
Yeah.
So it's a good way of, like, conveying quickly the important information of something that happened without showing, like, every single little piece of it, and also without just having a character, like, tell you word for word what happened. So it's a nice kind of mix of that to keep the plot focused, but also to, not just have a dude be like, blah, 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 blah. So,
Yeah.
Like, I personally, like, think it's probably not for everyone, but
definitely not.
It's very effective in what it does, and I appreciate that they put subtitles in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Unlike Passion of the Christ, where we're like, is this going to be how it's okay? It is how it is going to be for the rest of the movie.
There was, like, one particular portion where I thought the editing was well done, which is when it had, like, the timer, because there are a lot of other movies.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Where we were like, okay, let's actually time it to see if it works.
What was the movie?
Wasn't it Entrapment?
Entrapment.
Entrapment was
it was
the one
totally
that, like,
off.
But this one, like, they actually showed you the actual numbers and it lined up.
Well, okay, I'm gonna make a slight beef with that because they, like, don't show the timer the whole time. It like goes away kind of randomly, and, like, I do think that the timing of it actually does line up pretty well. But it kind of begs the question, like, why did you do that? I don't know. It just kind of bothered me a little bit because I'm like, you bothered to put it there. Why not just leave it there the whole time?
Yeah, I wish they kept it the whole time.
It's minor. At least they did it, but still, it's kind of like, eh. It actually it reminds me of a Justice League episode. It's an episode where it's one of the later ones where the Joker has like put bombs in like a casino or whatever, but like only one of them is real, and so
Oh.
all the guys have to like go around and try to get rid of them, also fighting off dudes or whatever. And during the entire episode, there's a timer in the bottom right corner, like
Oh.
counting down until like the very end when like it is like stopped before it gets to the end or whatever or something, and then there's like more to the episode after that. But still, it was just kind of nice that that constant backdrop was there, and I was like, that was a really good episode, by the way. But anyway, a good episode of a good show. But whatever. Let's see. There was something else I was gonna mention. I wish we got to see more of the girl. Because
Yeah.
I liked her, and I think that's the point. Is you're supposed to like her and like her interaction with him, and like feel like, oh no, you're really sad that she's gone, and it makes sense that like she has to be gone for most of the movie. But I don't know. She was.
Yeah, I
Interesting.
felt that we
Then-
should have seen her a little bit
A
more.
little
I
bit more
also
time with her.
wish that we saw more of the mom too,
Oh yeah.
Mm.
because I liked.
I actually we were complaining about like Mary Jane in Spider-Man 1
Yeah.
and how she was always screaming, but the mom here, she was screaming, but she was like, "Fuck you!"
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, no,
Like-
that whole like outburst against like the whatever police, or if they're technically
Yeah.
police, whatever.
Yeah.
Like that makes complete and total sense. So
Yeah, exactly. And
yeah.
it's like that's a realistic reaction from a mother who just like.
Lost her child, and
Yeah.
Yeah, so and also like you believe the characters, and the plot is legitimately interesting where like okay, the girl got kidnapped, but then it's like, but why? And then also like why the answer to the first why leads to another why, and like it keeps
Yeah.
building upon itself to really figure out like what's going on. And you legitimately don't really know what's going on, and they actually do kind of they wrap it up in a decent way, but at the same time it's not like everything is resolved, right? It's not like, oh, all the
Right.
bad guys are either dead or in jail, right? It's not quite like that. So at the same
it's
time,
more realistic in
yeah,
that
it feels
way.
realistic in that way because it's not everyone doesn't win, right? And
Not only that, but it's kind of a case of you take down one, but that doesn't mean that you take
Take down the
all.
whole thing.
Yeah.
yeah, because there's
It's kind of like a thing with Wonder Woman too,
Mm-hmm.
and the argument that's made there. But we won't go into that just yet.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
It reminds me of well, no. Oh, no, I know what I was thinking of. Yeah, there's been like so many movies where there's just like one dude and he somehow like takes down an entire like crime ring, and like everyone's like shooting at him and he's like fine, but he shoots at them once and they die, and it's like, and look, there's nothing wrong with that movie, because like if the tone of the movie works or whatever, then fine, right? Like Die Hard was like that and it was fine. But yeah, this definitely took a different approach to it, and it was welcome in that regard. Yeah, and it's definitely not a I don't know.
It's not a movie for everyone.
It's not. It's not like a nice movie, It's so you have to kind of like be willing to have to witness some things
Yourself.
that are not that great, and but if you are fine with that and you can get invested in the story, then I think it works quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess if you like crime movies, this one won't disappoint you. It might like not be your cup of tea, but if you do take the plunge, it won't disappoint you.
Yeah.
On a slightly random note, I want to say that I definitely like Denzel Washington in this crime movie
Oh, yeah.
better than the other crime movie he
Oh
was in.
yeah. What was that? What was that one?
Oh.
That was Training Day.
That
Right.
was what it was called. Yeah, I couldn't remember the name of it. Yeah, that was another weird movie that was like, I don't know how I really feel about this, but I do think I like this one more.
Yeah, I
Um,
like this one.
And I even think I think of all of us, I think I like Training Day the most, and I still was kind of like about it. But here, for this
Still
one,
kind of undecided.
yeah, this one I think I like was kind of undecided for most of it, and then like kind of talking about it now, and then also like at the end, I think I do like this. It's just I'm really not sure like where to rank it though. That's kind of the problem. I'm like, how do I, like
I
how do I
realize
compare
that
this
also
with like
different
Ice
problems.
Age? You know what I mean? Like how do you do that? They're so different.
Yeah, I guess like the thing with this movie and me is like I have a weird soft spot for sad movies, and this isn't like completely sad, but the ending is kind of bittersweet.
Hmm.
And the reason that it feels bittersweet is because it is kind of realistic.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't know. I found Denzel Washington's character to be very compelling, so it was very easy for me to get attached to him.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, actually thinking about it, is there even like any other movie that we've seen that like has this kind of tone for an ending?
Like a bittersweet ending.
I feel like every single movie that we've seen ends up like wrapping everything up nicely and everyone's happy except for like, I don't know.
I think it either is that it wraps up really nicely, or it wraps up really horribly.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. This
So-
one has some loose ends that can't be resolved because of the nature of how things work.
Yeah.
And I think it also like gives you something to think about at the end too.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate that a bit too.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to think about this for a while to really like think of where to place it. I can see myself definitely like changing where I end up putting this later, but I don't know. I'll put it somewhere. I think we're all in agreement that it's definitely net positive. It's just kind of
Yeah,
like
it's a net positive.
where I do kind of I want to like go read some reviews now for why like apparently a lot of people didn't like it, because again like the violence thing, even if you're like you think it's excessive or whatever, like I had that in mind when I was like watching this movie, that people were saying that, and I was watching through like the first half of the movie. I'm like, there's a lot of really good stuff in this movie besides that though. Like, is that really enough to bring it all the way down to like a 30% on like Rotten Tomatoes or
Oh
something?
wait, really?
It's like
Yeah,
that
down
low.
to
Yeah, it's pretty
30%.
bad.
That's weird.
I know Metacritic's in the 40s, and it's like I'm pretty sure Rotten Tomatoes is in the 30s, and I'm like, really? I don't see why, to be honest. So I don't know. I'll have to kind of look and see if there's
There was
anything
another
that I'm
movie
missing.
where we were surprised with how low the ranking was. I forgot what it was. Was that at like Confidential, or was it a different movie?
No, that one was pretty high.
It was a different one.
I mean, Die Hard only got like a 60 or something.
Oh yeah, that was something.
But
That
no,
was
there
one.
there was something else that was like really low.
check.
Let me look at the.
Was it the Harry Potter movies?
No, it wasn't that. It was something that we did not know about previously, and then we watched it and we liked it.
Was it? Don't Say a Word is ranked really pretty bad, and I know we at least thought it was like okay.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
okay.
Remember the Titans?
Oh yeah, I think
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
Yeah, it has it. Okay, I'm looking at it right now. It only got 2 points higher in Metacritic than The Grinch.
That's
Why?
fucked up.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I'm pretty sure that was it. Let me just look to see if there's anything else, but I'm pretty sure.
The Sixth Sense is pretty low, but I would say Remember the Titans was a bit more surprising.
Yeah, I think that was it. But yeah, so I guess if you're into this kind of style of movie, and again, like you just keep the tone and like the violent stuff in mind, and if you're fine with that, then yeah, I'd say this it accomplishes what it meant to do. So if you're fine with what it does, then there you go, I guess.
Yeah.
So next movie.
It's a comedy, actually.
We have like freaking flopped around so much at the beginning of this year.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like the first we had like a dumb rom-com. Then we
My
have
favorite.
torture porn.
Yep.
Then we have just dumb. Then we have this, and then we have the next thing, which is, well, you'll understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah,
With that in mind.
this is a weird year.
Mhm.
Well, are you gonna be okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just emotional.
Not to say you sound more sick than I am right now.
No, I'm not sick. I'm crying.
No, I know.
On that note,
On that note,
bye.
Goodbye.
goodbye.